This season's got one of those old school Oilers feels to them. And I'm not talking the good old school. I'm talking the old school before this new school that we've come accustomed to under Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Of course, what am I talking about? Well, the season starts out, not too bad, not too great, and then all of a sudden, right, injuries start piling up, losses start piling up, and before you know it, by the end of January, the season's already lost. Well, thankfully, the Oilers roster built a little bit better than in years previous, where even if we miss, we're not going to miss by much. But this is one of those situations now, day by day, month by month, the injuries continue to pile up, and the wins coming here and there for the Edmonton Oilers, not in bunches, and large in part to, of course, the injuries the Oilers have up front and now on the back end. Friends, this is Dolany TV. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today. Second edition, by the way. If you missed the signing of Jason Demers, I broke it down earlier today in another video. That said, we have to talk about it again, but in a completely different light. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel, what I want you to do right now is consider hitting that subscribe button. Just crossed 9,600 subscribers here on Dolany TV. We are less than 400 away from 10,000, and I would love to have you along, especially for the World Juniors coverage, a special time of year every single year here on Dolany TV. All right, let's get to the news, shall we? Cut to the chase, Tyson. Stop wasting my time. A little bit more on the Demers signing, thanks to Mark Spector. This news reported just about 30-40 minutes ago from when I'm recording this video. Ryan Murray has hurt his back. I guess that may be part and parcel for why he has been out of the lineup the past several games, right? Might have tweaked something, and then finally they figured out, no, it's actually a lot worse. I don't know who's to speculate. He hasn't played a game in a couple of weeks, so I really don't know what to tell you there. I mean, I guess he, quite honestly, I'm getting to be that age myself. You can hurt your back sleeping nowadays, so I'm not going to speculate on back injuries and when them happen because, quite honestly, you roll out of bed the wrong way in the morning, you're screwed for 3 weeks sometimes. So Ryan Murray screwed for a month here, ish. This is getting to be the joke of the Oilers season, right? I talked about the injuries piling up and derailing seasons prior. Well, this is kind of the joke of the Oilers season where it's a maintenance day, but he's going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks, right? That's kind of been the theme of this so far, and that's where we're sitting at things right now with this Ryan Murray injury is ish. I don't know, ish, and we'll find out what ends up happening for sure. Now, here's another thing, right? We got the ish on the month thing. Philip Broberg rolled an ankle. Oh my goodness, right? Ankle injury again for Broberg. The guy just can't stay healthy and continue to contribute to the NHL lineup. He's out 2 to 3 weeks. So read into that. It could be a month. It could be 6 months. I mean, it could be 2 days. I don't know. We'll find out. And of course, this is going to compound the situation with the LTIR. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, at some point, a lot of what I do on YouTube is making stuff up, dreaming up scenarios, talking about dream scenarios and stuff like that. But honestly, the best news is the news you can't make up, and that's exactly what this is with the Edmonton Oilers and their injuries on the back end here to Ryan Murray and Philip Broberg. The Oilers, of course, called up Markus Niemelainen 2 days ago, and everybody's scratching their heads, trying to wonder what's going on. There's a trade imminent with the Ducks because obviously Verbeek's been at the past 2 Oilers games, and yes, Puljujärvi is getting on the airplane to go to Anaheim and have great Christmas in Disneyland, and like it's just all freaking us out there at the Oilers game yesterday. Like I said on Patrick's live stream pregame, his version of it there when we found out Broberg was scratched is it's one of those games you just kind of are more excited to be done with and talk about stuff happening after the game than the stuff that happens during the game. That one turned out to be bang on, which is very unfortunate. And unfortunately, I literally talked to him in the stands, sitting next to him all game, and I'm like, at one point I turned to him and I said, well, I just really cursed it, didn't I, in that pregame? He looked at me and just shook his head, and I'm like, yeah, fair, that's all me. And well, now here we go with the update on Broberg, and obviously the move for Niemelainen makes sense. The Oilers thin on who they can call up, and hence Jason Demers, right? We were kind of game planning this. In the prior video, I was talking about the trade and how that would work for the Oilers and having to move a defender out for a defender in. And Jason Demers is kind of that guy in case the new guy or somebody before the new guy gets injured. Well, two guys before the new guy got injured. So, well, you see here, that's a really big problem for the Oilers. And, well, here you go. There's a reason why there's a question mark in my title where Jason Demers call up soon. Because this bottom line, he becomes the next call-up, maybe soon, for the Edmonton Oilers, according to Mark Spector. So, my friends, yeah, can we have that discussion about the season being derailed due to injuries? Because let's face it, right? Ryan Murray, not a great year. He's been on the bench in place of Broberg for a lot of this past couple of month here. For good reason, right? Ryan Murray, I think he's a bigger addition in the LTIR pool at this point than he is solving the problems on the back end on the ice. Fair, $750K, we can work with that. Problem is, Philip Broberg, given what Philip Broberg is, a young up-and-coming prospect still just breaking it in at the NHL level, was actually one of the better defenders for the Oilers over this span of the past 18 days. When you consider that Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard have just decided to be completely absent of defending responsibilities, right? Tyson Barrie getting a lot of praise right now. Cody Ceci, hit or miss game to game. And obviously Brett Kulak, yeah, he out of his element playing in that second pair when he should be on the third pair. But Philip Broberg, nobody's complaining about him because he's just doing his job night in, night out, and not worrying about the offense and doing all the things a defenseman should be doing for the Edmonton Oilers on the third pair, I guess what I'm trying to say. So, he's out. Your seventh defenseman in Ryan Murray's out. You've got your eighth string defenseman or your seventh string defenseman, whatever you compare Murray versus Niemelainen contract to contract situation wise. Now out, and you've got Niemelainen up there in the NHL being your sixth defenseman, I guess, on the depth chart. Yeah, and guess who's number 7? Jason Demers, because we'll go take a quick look. I guess I forgot to pull this up, but I was just more concerned about getting the video started and talking things here about this situation for the Oilers. And obviously, I mean, I'm talking a lot of doom and gloom here. I don't think it's necessarily the Oilers season is written off, but this is, I've watched this story before, and unfortunately it does not always pan out the Oilers' way. Now, when you go down to the AHL level here for the Oilers, Michael Kesselring is a right-hand shot defenseman who they may have to bring up. He's at $925. The kids look great this season in the AHL from everything I've heard. Slater Cuckoo's obviously still on leave, despite still being on contract with the Oilers. He is on leave for mental health reasons. Maximus Warner is in the CHL and unrecallable. Philip Kemp, I don't think anyone in Bakersfield is shouting his name for the recall. And obviously Vinny Desharnais, at 26 years old, he's a big, mean right-hand shot defenseman. Sure, he's probably just as likely as Jason Demers to get the recall, but in terms of merit. But unfortunately for Vinny Desharnais, he has played very few games this year, has had some injury issues, and secondary to that is for him, it's going to be very tough to crack the NHL lineup against a guy like Jason Demers, who has that veteran experience and that veteran poise to his game that perhaps some would accuse the Oilers of missing since losing Duncan Keith and Chris Russell. So that's really it. And again, for Vinny Desharnais, he's had 1 point in 6 games so far with the Bakersfield Condors this season. So that is that, unfortunately. And, well, we look to tomorrow to see what ends up happening here. Obviously, the problem with Jason Demers is he is on waivers, so the recall for him, if it is to happen, will not happen until tomorrow afternoon. So we'll wait to see on that news, and we'll see what ends up happening for our Edmonton Oilers going into the roster freeze on Monday. Folks, I'm Tyson. This is Stolen TV. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. I wish I had better news. Unfortunately, I do not. And that said, if you enjoyed today's video, what I'd like you to do as we head on out is leave a like on the video. Thank you so much for tuning in, my friends. I am up on out of here.